What's up YouTube? I'm back again with another video, and today we're going to be going over some recent comments made by Elon Musk regarding his views on cryptocurrency and the current monetary system. If you like these types of videos, please remember to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate all the feedback. You guys are awesome. And without more to say, let's get right into it. Recently, Elon was on the Lex Fridman podcast where he was asked a bunch of questions ranging from his thought process in Tesla to cryptocurrencies, all the way to SpaceX. It was a great interview, and I recommend everyone go and watch it. I'll have a link for it below. One question that Lex asked that I thought was very interesting was this.
Do you think, technologically speaking, there's any room for ideas of smart contracts or so on? Because you mentioned laws. That's an interesting use of things like smart contracts to implement the laws by which governments function. Like something built on Ethereum, or maybe a Dogecoin that enables smart contracts somehow.
I don't quite understand this whole smart contract thing. I mean,
so
I'm too dumb to understand smart contracts.
That's a good line.
Elon admits right here that he is too dumb to understand smart contracts, which is kind of a play on words. Let's hear him out and see what he has to say.
I mean, my general approach to any kind of like deal or whatever is just make sure there's clarity of understanding. That's the most important thing. Right. And just keep any kind of deal very, very short and simple, plain language, and just make sure everyone understands this is the deal. Is it clear? And what are the consequences if various things don't happen? But usually deals are business deals or whatever are way too long and complex and overly lawyered and pointlessly.
As you can see, Elon took a kind of neutral stance there. Through my interpretation, it seems like on one hand, he looks at it like reinventing the wheel. We kind of already have contracts or smart type contracts that fulfill on their own. But at the same time, he acknowledges that the current system of deal making or contracts between people sometimes has to go through a lot of bureaucratic steps, like having witnesses or notaries and other things that could just slow down the process. Later on in the interview, Elon is asked about his views on cryptocurrency and whether he supports it or why he believes it could be an improvement on the current monetary system.
I think I have a pretty deep understanding of what money actually is on a practical day-to-day basis because of PayPal. We really got in deep there. And right now, the money system, actually, for practical purposes, is really a bunch of heterogeneous mainframes running old COBOL.
Here, Elon tries to explain why Bitcoin might not be feasible for everyday transaction.
So, just think of money as a database for resource allocation across time and space, and then what system it is, in what form should that database or data system, what would be most effective? Now, there is a fundamental issue with say Bitcoin in its current form, in that the transaction volume is very limited, and the latency the latency for a properly confirmed transaction is too long, much longer than you'd like. So it's actually not great from a transaction volume standpoint or a latency standpoint.
So as most of you probably are aware, when you decide to make a transaction using Bitcoin, a lot of times it could take up to 10 minutes to get your transaction processed. And that is why Elon suggests that maybe Bitcoin isn't the best for making your transactions. After explaining that, he decides to make a case for Doge or other cryptos and why they might be a little bit better for actual day-to-day use.
But it is not useful as a currency, as a day-to-day currency.
But people have proposed different technological solutions.
Like Lightning.
Lightning Network and the layer 2 technologies on top of that. I mean, it seems to be all kind of a trade-off. But the point is, it's kind of brilliant to say that just think about information, think about what kind of database, what kind of infrastructure enables that exchange of information.
You're operating an economy, and you need to have something that it allows for the to have efficient value ratios between products and services. So you got this massive number of products and services, and you can't just barter. Part of the reason why I think there's some merit to Dogecoin, even though it was obviously created as a joke, is that it actually does have a much higher transaction volume capability than Bitcoin, and the cost of doing a transaction, the Dogecoin fee is very low. Like right now, if you want to do a Bitcoin transaction, the price of doing that transaction is very high, so you could not use it effectively for most things, and nor could it even scale to a high volume. And when Bitcoin was started, I guess around 2008 or something like that, the internet connections were much worse than they are today, like order of magnitude. I mean, they're way worse, in 2008. So like having a small block size or whatever is, and a long synchronization time made sense in 2008. But to 2021, or fast forward 10 years, it's like comically low. It's and I think there's some value to having a linear increase in the amount of currency that is generated. So because some amount of the currency, if a currency is too deflationary, or I should say, if a currency is expected to increase in value over time, there's reluctance to spend it, because you're like, I'll just hold it and not spend it because its scarcity is increasing with time. So if I spend it now, then I will regret spending it. So I will just hodl it. But if there's some dilution of the currency occurring over time, that's more of an incentive to use it as a currency. So Dogecoin, somewhat randomly, has just a fixed number of sort of coins or hash strings that are generated every year. So there's some inflation, but it's not a percentage base. It's a fixed number. So the percentage of inflation will necessarily decline over time. So I'm not saying that it's like the ideal system for a currency, but I think it actually is just fundamentally better than anything else I've seen, just by accident.
Okay, so to pick that apart, my interpretation is that Elon is saying that something like Bitcoin, which only has a set number amount of coins with no possible future inflation, is actually bad for currency use. Because if you have the mindset that there will never be more of these and the value will continue to increase, you don't really have any reason to spend it. It's like, why would you spend it when you know for a fact it'll be worth more later? Which kind of defeats the purpose of the currency. Now, according to Elon, Dogecoin has a certain amount of introduced coins every year, which is a set amount, not a percentage, which is actually pretty important, because a percentage would actually increase over the years as the overall quantity increases. So being a set number, the percentage will actually lower. The amount being introduced every year will be a lower percentage of the overall number. It's a little hard to wrap your head around, but it makes total sense. Now, he also mentions that he doesn't think that Dogecoin is some perfect solution to the economy issues, but he does think that it's better than a bunch of people in an office somewhere being able to control and print money whenever they feel like it and basically manipulate the value of any currency, which is what we're dealing with right now. So in short, it seems like Elon is definitely a fan of decentralized currency that is not controlled by people, because we all know people make mistakes. So the overall main points that I picked up from this interview, and by the way, this interview goes on for 2.5 hours, and there are many talking points that I do not cover. This video is strictly on the crypto side and trying to pick apart Elon's views. And for Elon, I gotta say, It takes major guts for the man with the most fiat currency in the world to sit there and kind of bash it, you know. And then crypto, if it did take over, Elon would no longer be the richest man in the world, which is kind of funny to think that, you know, you would think the richest man in the world would be against crypto and would want everyone to use the currency he's wealthy with. And that's one of the main reasons why I respect Elon. You know, he's not here trying to scam you. He's really just out here trying to help the world, and I really respect the man for that. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys if you stuck around. Leave a like, comment. I appreciate all of it. If you enjoyed it, hey, maybe even hit that subscribe button. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Is Elon going to start his own cryptocurrency? Will that be one of the next things in the future? Tesla coin? Who knows? Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Anyways, guys, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Stock Surfer, signing out.